Hey everyone, welcome back. And in this video, we are going to talk about how we can deploy metadata from one environment to another Salesforce environment. So basically, we are going to talk about what are the different ways how we can deploy metadata from one environment to another environment. And then we will see how we can create a sandbox environment from our production environment. And then there is a mandatory settings, how we can make the change in that settings. So this is what we are going to do in this video. So when we talk about the deployment, when we talk about how we can do the migration of the metadata from one environment to another environment, we are not talking about the data. We are talking about only metadata that we have developed in the part in our implementation part. So these are the five ways. Like one is chain set, which is very traditional and old ways, which most of the companies does use in the past. Some of the companies are also using today's. And then we have got Apache Ant, which is most widely used these days. And Salesforce DX, again, this is a very good tool which is being used in order to deploy the code or metadata. Then we have got Workbench. Again, this is also a tool provided by Salesforce. And then we also have a way unmanaged package. So these are the five different ways which we can use to deploy. And we are going to talk about each and every topic in the coming video. Now, how we can create a sandbox. First thing that we need to do is we need to log in into your Salesforce environment. Which Salesforce environment we need to log in? So for creating the sandbox, we must need to have access to the production environment. If we don't have access to production environment, we cannot create. We must need to ask to our Salesforce admin who have access to Salesforce environment to set up or spin up a new sandbox for us. In our case, most of us we don't have Salesforce production environment, but I have already provided the access into the starting of the video series, into the starting of this course. So you can just use those credentials to log into your production environment, but please don't use that access to create a sandbox. I'm just going to show you the steps. You can follow the steps along with me, but please don't create the sandboxes because there are very limited number of sandboxes which can be created for a particular production environment. So if every one of you is going to create a sandbox, then it is going to problem for me to manage that because I have only one production environment. So go ahead and get those credentials if you already, if you don't have, if you have, just go ahead and log in into your Salesforce production environment and then navigate to setup and Salesforce sandboxes. I'm also going to show you how to navigate that. So let's quickly do this. So this is my Salesforce environment, which is a production environment, and I'm logged in into the production environment. I don't have option to switch to Salesforce Lightning environment, but the option is same. In the Lightning itself, you need to just go to the setup, and from the setup, just search for sandboxes. So in the classic, you can see this is the setup button. So if you are not here in the setup page, just click on that setup button, and it will take you to this page, which is the setup, which is the home page of Salesforce environment. This is sandboxes. As soon as you start typing sandboxes, it is going to do some auto search here and it is going to give you the options. Just click on this sandboxes under deploy option and you will see all the sandboxes which are listed over here. We have created like these sandboxes, which are two sandboxes. One is dev, one is dev 2. Now if I wanted to create a sandbox, what I need to do is I just need to go ahead and click on this new sandbox. So once we click on this new sandbox, it is going to show us this new interface where we need to give the name of the sandbox. I can say that Udemy or I can say any name. You can just say any name. Let's suppose that we are going to say that SIT. This is a valid sandbox name. Now create from where you wanted to copy the configuration, either from developer environment, developer 2 environment or production environment. Most of the cases we do create a sandbox from production environment, but there are some circumstances or we can say that exception when we need to select sandboxes in order to spin up a new sandbox. So we will create production. Now here you can see sandboxes license. It is showing me the license. It is saying for the developer I have got 25. like license in use 2 of 25. That means I have got 23. I don't have any developer pro. I have got one which is license. It is saying that no template exists for this organization. That means we cannot create that. And I don't have any full copy sandbox as well. So we are going to make work with our Salesforce developer environment, which is enough for this complete video series. So just go ahead and click on next. Please don't do that. Just go ahead and click on next. It might ask you to create an apps class. If you don't have, we are going to just go ahead and click on create. I'm going to create. You don't need to go ahead and click on create because the limitations of our license. Now you can see we have got 22 available, 3 in use. So if every one of you is going to create, then again it is going to create a problem for license. Now as soon as you click on this sandbox like create, it is going to show you like this is in queue. The current org ID, it is in pending state. If I just go ahead and edit this, so what it is going to do is it is in queue state. Basically once this sandbox is created, you will see that this status is completed. You will see the org instance name. You will also see the org ID. You will see when it has been created. There is no other description in anything else, right? So now after you have created the sandbox, now the thing is, what will be the username of your sandbox? So for that, what it is going to do is, whatever the username of your production environment is. So suppose that the username of your production environment is, let me open this notepad. Yeah, so suppose that the username of your environment is like something, username at prod.org, right? Now, what will be the sandbox username? So it is going to be the username at prod.org and dot sandbox name. What is the sandbox name? It is SIT. So this is going to be the username of the new sandbox which has been created. What will be the password? Same as production. Whatever the password you are logging to use into the production, which is going to be the initial password of your sandbox, and then later on you can just go ahead and change it. So that is going to be the username and password for your Salesforce sandbox instance which you have created. Now you can see here status is processing, and this much status has been processed like 47%. Org ID is again pending. Next thing that we talked about in agenda is we are going to change some settings. So before we migrate the data from one environment to another environment, we must need to change some setting, and these settings only needs to be changed in order to deploy the metadata using change set. So if we are not using change set, this setting is no longer in use. So if you are using change set, you must need to enable these settings. So as we are going to see the demo, we are definitely going to enable these settings. Just quickly go ahead and type deploy in the search box and you will see deployment settings. As soon as you see, just click on that link and you will see here that by default you will see like this. Curious Panther is our Salesforce production environment and dev is the sandbox. It is saying that you cannot deploy from dev sandbox to the production or from production to dev sandbox. You cannot make any deployment. You cannot do even either one way. So if you wanted to deploy to your dev environment, what you need to do is just go ahead and click on edit. And you click on edit, you will see allow inbound changes. So if you click on this here, it is saying that whether or not the connected organization is authorized to deploy changes to this organization. That means if we click on this checkbox, then our production environment can accept the changes from our dev environment. That's what it is saying, that allow inbound changes. That means in, not out. So we are saying that inbound changes. Just go ahead and click on save. You click on save here. You might want it to edit again to see accept outbound changes. You cannot see over here because these changes must need to be made into the sandbox side. Now if we click on cancel, we get back to our deployment settings. This time we will be able to see that now it is saying dev sandbox can send me the data to KVS Panther, which is our production environment. But production environment cannot send the data to dev environment because the setting is not enabled there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to log in. So I'm logging into my sandbox environment, which is dev. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the settings into the sandbox, which is sandbox dev. Just go ahead and click on setup. Again, this is going to be the classic environment because there is no option for lightning for this sandbox environment. Go to deployment here. Just search for deployment. You will see deployment settings. And just click on that link. Click on that link, you might see something like this. Just go ahead, click on this or click on continue. Go ahead and again do this production environment. You can see dev can send to production, but dev cannot send to dev 2, and it can also not receive from dev 2. So I'm going to say allow inbound changes. Now if I go ahead and say allow inbound changes and click on save, it is going to allow the changes from production environment as well. That means now we can send or receive the data from production to dev and dev to production. That is how the setting is going to work for you in case of changes. Now it might be whenever you are trying to follow these steps to enable the settings and all, you might need to wait for this sandbox to set up if there is any license. If not, then you just need to know like these are the checkboxes that you can enable or disable. So if you see that all the setups are enabled, you can try to go ahead and just disable the changes and then try to enable it. That is again, it is going to work for you. It is taking some time. I'm just going to click on cancel. Sometimes it takes some time, but it saves the data here. So you can see it has been like it made the changes into the developer sandbox. Now if you go to deployment settings now here into our sandboxes, you'll be able to see like both the environments can send or receive the data from production. There is one more option which you have seen, which is deployment status. So this is the page where we are going to see all the deployment status either failed or succeeded. So we are also going to see into the coming videos when we are going to deploy the changes from one environment to Salesforce to another environment of Salesforce. So basically we are going to start from the chain set and then we will start one by one. We'll pick chain set Apache and then we are going to pick Workbench, Salesforce TX, and then we are also going to work on some CI/CD part as well.